audible? Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the next installment of our journey of getting to the core of business development and new venture creation. I am Yongama Skweya, your host, Chief Advocate for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. First on the docket this afternoon, some interesting events in the news. Firstly, Bidvest Group sells off its banking division to Access Bank of Nigeria for $157 million or 2.8 billion rands. This bothers me to some extent, given the constant noise made in the media about the need for black-owned banks in South Africa. I would have thought that this asset would have been purchased by a black consortium, or at minimum a leverage buyout by black executives at the bank. If you look at all the major banks in South Africa, I think there's enough talent pool of black executives who have reach, experience, gravitas to have actually come and put something together to bid to buy this asset. But alas, it was not to be. I don't know whether this is a symbolicism of the lack of entrepreneurial activity within this industry and specifically within banking, but it's quite a blow to an ideology that is being perpetuated that, the increase in black bank participation would lead to increase in capital being available for blacks. But alas, Access Bank of Nigeria has taken the opportunity. They are an extraordinary business that is expanding wildly and rapidly across the African continent with a presence in 16 countries. This business is looking good for the future. I think it's a one to look at. I've also had a few interactions with some of the team within South Africa. It's a great bunch of people, and I really wish them the very best on their last leg of getting fully licensed within South Africa. So part of this acquisition will give them a banking license within South Africa. So now they are fully fledged, and I think they're going to do very well within the South African banking market. Second on our list of news, Eskom is selling off its staff home loan book. Eskom, which is our only electrical utility within South Africa, has got an incredible offering for its staff, home loan. That is, I think that the terms are incredible for someone who works for Eskom over time, because of the increases in numbers of people that have worked there. I think it has become quite a place of loss for the business, and Eskom, trying to streamline somewhat, is now offloading non-core assets, and they've now started a process of offloading their staff home loan book. The African Bank seems to be the preferred bidder for this home loan book. African Bank has been on an acquisition trajectory now for the past 2 years, since 2023, when they bought Grindrod Bank, and they've been buying assets from Sasfin and other banks. So let's see if they're able to do something significant with this acquisition. I wish them also all the best. I think these loan books are going to make them one of the biggest borrowers around in the retail market within South Africa, and we see how this market looks. This episode, I wanted to engage you on when and why someone actually should start a business. The reason I list are in no way an exhaustive list, but merely the ones I think are compelling and give sustained reason to remain in a market. Let's start at the beginning. Timing is everything when it comes to business, and deciding when to take the entrepreneurial leap is critical to maximizing your chances of success. There is great evidence that starting young without any material liabilities and responsibilities is good, as the downsize is minimized to some extent. If your venture or ventures do not succeed and you wish to throw in the towel, you can always pick up your CV, dust it off, and go looking for a job. You would have had at least a decade's worth of experience to go back to the world and look for employment. There is, however, another school of thought that looks at the experience and reputation of one received after 10 to 15 years of service in one area or another in business. Entrepreneurs who have opted to launch after receiving notoriety within their industries have proven to become extraordinarily successful. This may be tied to their understanding of the market needs, having most of the required networks and a proven track record. They can make a success of a venture in that space. The latter, strangely, is a mainstay in conservative markets where traditional banks are the primary form of lenders available for new business development. Now, starting a business is a complex decision that requires thoughtful consideration of personal readiness, market opportunities, and resources available to you. A key component to remember is that one does not start a business to make an income, money, or proceeds, but rather to offer value that the identified market is willing and able to pay for. It is imperative that you solve a problem and offer value. Now, value seems to be quite an elusive thing for a lot of would-be entrepreneurs to grasp. So I will define it in this way. Value is the difference that you receive moreover to the cost of the product or service you receive. For example, if it costs a business $1 to produce a product or a service, then it's sold to me as the consumer for $3. But in reality, I would be willing to or able to spend $5 on that product or service because it solves a vital problem in my life. Then the value I receive is $2. This value becomes the foundation for potential repeat purchase of the product or utility of the service. So it's important in building our businesses, whether it is a product-based business or a service-based business, that we understand what is the value of what we are offering to the customer base and ensure that whatever we charge is less than the value that they perceive to get, therefore ensuring that they will come back and repeat, consume, or utilize your service. Now, getting back to timing and personal readiness. Good timing is so subjective, and you can only see it in hindsight. No business founder, no matter how successful, knew exactly how it will all pan out. Entrepreneurship is an iterative process of building products and or services that solve a problem. The key to this is identifying problems to solve. And again, I want to repeat this. The key to entrepreneurship is to identify the problems that you need to solve. A friend of mine always says, you need to fall in love with the problem. And too few entrepreneurs actually fall in love with the problem and end up being so fixated with whatever solution that they want to bring to the fore. To any single problem, there are at least a dozen possible solutions available to you. For instance, if the problem for any market is moving from point A to point B, there's various solutions to that. They can, at the lower end of the market, cheapest possible option is to walk from A to B, depending on the distance and the availability of things. A second option could be to actually get a skateboard to move from A to B. A third option could get a bicycle to move from A to B. And so on and so forth as you grow up the economic ladder, up until you get to a point where people can either decide, do I use an Uber, which is a paid for service, or do I make enough income to actually buy myself a vehicle? So the problem is still the same. People need to move from A to B. But depending on the target market, the ability to consume of that target market, you build an appropriate solution that will meet them where they are for the amount of money that they are willing to pay for. Sitting and thinking a lot about the entrepreneurial journey, I am reminded of an autobiography by James Dyson called Against the Odds. Mr. Dyson is a successful inventor, entrepreneur with some incredible and aesthetically pleasing cleaning products such as vacuum cleaners and hair and hand dryers. He was not always as successful as he is today. He currently ranked as the UK's wealthiest person. Sir James, as he was knighted for his efforts in commerce and business, articulates an incredible and albeit familiar saga of the entrepreneurial journey that founders have to trek and endure. From finding a problem you wish to solve to validating that your chosen means to solve this problem and is valid and appropriate for the target market that you have. One very interesting thing about being an entrepreneur, you could spend years doing the right things, but to the wrong target market. So it becomes essential that you find a product market fit as soon as it is possible in your iterative process. Do yourself a favor and get this book. It's called Against the Odds by Sir James Dyson. And it will articulate to you the journey, the struggles, and how long it takes to actually make it in business. And I think through that, one would be able to grasp at least a little bit of what is to come in one's own journey. By thoroughly identifying and validating a need, aligning your circumstances, and leveraging the resources at your disposal, you can increase your chances of entrepreneurial success. As much as I punt personal readiness, and especially in the later years, let's say after the age of 35, when one has built up some equity in your house and have some notoriety within your industry you are in, the bottom line, however, is that all that is entrepreneurship is that no guarantees. And this also will not guarantee that you achieve success, but merely it is a means of mitigating any risk as best as possibly can. Sometimes timing is up to God, and there's nothing you can do about it. I have seen some incredible businesses that were just too ahead of their time, a year, 2, even 5 years ahead of their time. But now, if they had to be implemented, would flourish because the world is ready, the technology is available, the people's consumptive ability is there. But unfortunately, the business is gone and dead. Market readiness is also improves your business case. Consider whether the broader economy is conducive to starting a business. You can't now, in a really, really depressed market condition, want to start a luxury brand for an income group that has no ability to consume. You need to read the market. You need to understand the factors that move the market. And by so doing, you are in a better position to actually be a leader in that market. As much as economic theory indicates that During bad times, you'd find that luxury goods do much better than overall segments. That is because the rich are consuming that. And the middle class trying to feel better about the circumstances would be consuming that. So it would be appropriate to build for that particular target market. For many years, I learned and experienced that any economic environment, when depressed or under pressure, the two main areas of production and development will always be alcohol and tobacco. And this has been a trend for at least the past 150 years, that during depressions or recessions, alcohol and tobacco stocks and businesses would be the ones to actually grow, as people either drink to take the depression away or drink because of some other reason. Funny enough, in 2019, when we started having the first waves of COVID, in the South African economy, it didn't work out like that. We found ourselves where our government decided to close down all alcohol establishments or sale of alcohol and the sale of tobacco. So that economic notion went out the window incredibly fast. At that stage, I was quite heavily invested in alcohol myself, so I understood the downturn and the incredible losses that one endured in such an economy. So one thing that I've learned is that economic theory is just that, theory. It does not always pan out as assumed, and one should always be vigilant and ready to look at the world from a different angle in order to find solutions and means to overcome whatever obstacles come your way. So again, with market readiness, it improves your business case, and one needs to consider whether the broader economy is conducive to starting a business or not. So I have this other mentor. They started an ICT business back in 1998. After a short stint as a consultant at Accenture, him and three other partners went out and started their business. And they have built in almost 3 decades a meaningful mid-tier IT company within South Africa, with customers and a reach to some of the countries across the continent. This was a business built on hard-won lessons and persistence. They themselves have been great stewards of capital, and the business they have built, they've been good to their workers, they've been good to their customers, and they have based this business solely on customer satisfaction and rigorous efficiency. And they do incredible work. And these are the things that one needs to look at in building a business, in that you become good at offering your customers value and satisfaction, because ultimately they are the ones who come to you and give you their hard-earned money. Whether your customer is a government parastatal, a government department, a corporate client, or just everyday Tom, Dick, and Harry, you need to have a deep respect, and you need to have the empathy to ensure that you give your customer what they require. My emphasis on only entering markets that you have notoriety in is based on the fact that you will need strategic mentors and network partners who will open doors and introduce you to key individuals. But be it potential major clients, or bank relationship manager who will have the patience to listen out to your story and advise you on how to access resources. Mentors like winners. You have seen on the road. So let's say you're driving on the road and you've seen someone has broken down on the side of the road just sitting there. It's interesting that hardly anyone ever stops to help them. Yet, if they try to push the vehicle, so many more people are willing to stop and assist, be it to push or to do something else. This is how humans are wired. We help those who look like they are willing to help themselves. And in so also, mentors are more drawn to people who are doing things and are winning because they also want to hear good news. So you can't go with a begging hand to a mentor and say, please, mentor me. You need to go with a thing of, this is what I'm building. This is where I am. I have seen your successes in business, and I would love it if you could possibly grant me 10, 15 minutes of your time on a weekly basis that I can bounce off my ideas off you. Because ultimately, what you need is to someone to say, yeah, you're on the right track there. Have you considered this? Have you thought about that? Because that is essentially the bottom line of mentorship. Someone to critically look at what you are doing, someone to help expand your mind, someone to be there to say, yeah, no, I don't think you're on the right track given the decision and the ethos that you have for your business. So, I hope you go out there and you find mentors, but remember that mentors love winners, so become a winner so you can attract the best possible mentors for yourself. In my daily life, I have a great privilege of meeting entrepreneurs and founders almost on a daily basis, each with a great story, some compelling and insightful, while others lacking and painful. I meet people from all walks of life, and when I tell them what I do, they all exclaim that they would like to start a business. People I know, be it friends and family members, have also indicated that they would like to start a business. As a recovering entrepreneur, I'm always encourage anyone looking to embark on this great journey as an adventure of a lifetime. And who am I to stand in your way? When time permits, however, I like to probe into the reasons for why these people say they wish to start a business. A kind of an interrogation on the North Star. Anyone who's pitched to me for VC funding knows I like to ask that question. As a matter of reference, a North Star in a business is a clear guiding principle or ultimate goal that serves as a long-term, unwavering reference point for decision-making, strategy development, and operational ideology. This simple yet vital call to purpose serves as the guiding ideology of the business and often refers to the underlying beliefs, values, and purpose that shape the culture and identity of your business. It becomes your proverbial why. And that is an important thing to consider in starting your business. However, the overwhelming majority of people I meet have answers that are unsatisfactory. Most of the answers are around not wanting to answer to anyone anymore, being tired of not growing in their careers, and just wanting more money. All of these are valid claims, all of these are valid reasons for frustration, but they are not compelling reasons to start a business. After 16 years of building businesses, I have never come across any of those reasons as compelling tinder to sustainably keep you in business. So some years ago, when I got onto this journey, I was considered crazy for doing it, lazy for not going out and finding a real job, in inverted commas, real job, and downright stupid in believing I could make it on my own. And I think to a lot of extent, that stigmatization has not in any way changed, especially in black communities, especially in first generation entrepreneurial homes and households, where the accepted norm is that one goes to school, goes to varsity, gets a qualification, and you go either work for the state or you go work for a corporation and just be happy until you get to retirement. It has been my lived experience that the best reason to go into business is when you have identified a market need that you are uniquely qualified to fulfill. And I want to repeat this. The best reason to go into business is when you have identified a market need that you are uniquely qualified to fulfill. And the only way you can do that is to service a market that you have significant empathy for, where you've identified a problem and you think you have the solution to that problem. You will need to go into that market and validate whether that problem is appropriate or that solution that you bring to their problem is appropriate for them, that they want it, that they can afford it, and that they are willing to pay for it. And all of these dots, when linked together, help you build a business. I don't think it is the right platform on this episode to start speaking about business cases and how you go about doing things, but I wanted to spark your understanding and your thinking around, why do I go and venture? I hope all my rantings have given you some insights, clarity, and if I did my job well, made you think more earnestly on why and when you should look at launching a business. As for your artwork, your cathedral of service, and the value creation that you have for your customers, because that is what your business will be. It will be your masterpiece to show the world this, or I was here, and this is me. The entrepreneurial journey has few equals in terms of life experience and things to do that are meaningful in life. I need you to remember that the journey itself is as important as the destination. It is a life-changing process where you will find yourself, lose yourself, and re-find yourself on the way while you are growing something that grows with you, grows beyond you, and you can see a brand rise as something that is a legacy and something you can feel proud about. So do your homework as carefully as you possibly can, for preparation can set the foundation for a thriving business and a successful future. I wish you, each and everyone, of the very best, and for those starting out, welcome to a new fraternity of people who care for you and wish to see you succeed. Thank you for listening this week. I hope you've had an awesome week. Until next time, let's keep the core strong.